happy about it. I actually think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me!
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
And Crochet back out there for his sixth inning. He has dominated Soto in the game and continues to do it. He strikes him out for the third time in a row. Here comes Cora.
Soto and Bregman 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts in a 3-hole. Yikes. You don't see that.
The headline for you.
That's going to do it.
So the night is done for the big lefty as he fans Juan Soto in the first, the third, and again in the sixth.
You don't want to come out.
And he is finished for the evening. So he goes 5 1/3, winds up allowing 5 hits and 1 run.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. 85 pitches. We got Alonso Vientos maybe finish off this inning. It's going to get you to, what, 95?
Yep.
Where your bullpen is. Now you're going to get multiple from Hendricks. It's, inning and 2/3, you got to think.
They're hugging it out.
they're hugging it out, and that's because I can guarantee the words that came out of Garrett's mouth when Cora went out there weren't pleasant.
Oh, yeah. There are some games over the course of 162 that are just going to bother you a little bit more than others, and that game last night was one of those for me. So that's where we start tonight on the Baseball Hour. McCarthy in for Maz because the summer of Maz has officially begun. A day before the summer of Maz typically begins, but I don't know, it's the spring of Maz, it's the winter of Maz, whatever the hell's going on out there. No Maz, you and me. For the next hour, Stu's here. We've got room for you, 617-779-0985. A lot of talk this week about people taking days off, Maz now included. I have no problem if you take a day off, none whatsoever. I actually have more of a problem if you suck at your job when you are actually working. And that's what's going on with the Red Sox right now, because I have come to the determination, and it's been a long time coming on this, and last night kind of sealed the deal for me, that Alex Cora kind of sucks at his job. Period. Full stop. End of paragraph. Alex Cora, problem for the Boston Red Sox. And I thought it was on display last night. Jimmy Stewart, I guess this is the moment where I say you were right. And you have been right. I'm officially on your side now.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stu, for everything you do. I've been an Alex Cora guy. I have been. I've defended him for years. I railed against management and defended Cora. I think he has a track record, keyword, key term, a track record of being a good in-game manager, which is something, by the way, that I still believe in baseball. I still think it matters. I know a lot of you don't think it matters. I think having a good in-game manager still matters in the sport. I think it can make a difference. And Alex Cora is making a difference, all right. And it's not a good one. Let's start with the in-game stuff before we get to the bigger stuff, which is his management of the clubhouse and the team culture, which I also thought was on display last night. But everything about that loss last night is directly tied into the performance of the manager and the poor job that he's doing. And I'll get your thoughts at 617-779-0985. Pulling Garrett Crochet in that game to me was indefensible. 85 pitches, tie ball game. Your bullpen is gassed after the night before. And need I mention, he is your ace. Garrett Crochet is your ace. Let him pitch. Why are you paying somebody $180 million if we're just going to baby him? And that's a bigger picture issue in baseball. So I don't know if that has too much to do with last night, partially, I guess. But aren't we going to let this guy pitch? Hated that decision from Alex Cora last night. Here's what he had to say about the reasoning for pulling Garrett Crochet at 85 pitches, 1-1 ball game in the sixth inning.
He did a good job. I mean, so it was one of those days that we circle up that we're going to be short. And they put some good at-bats early on, fouled up some pitches. The pitcher got up in the first inning, but after that, he was efficient and gave us enough.
You still knew you were going to be short with him?
Yeah.
Did you how tough is that?
It's not tough.
No, when it lines up with the day where your bullpen short.
It's not tough. It's for the benefit of the player. We're here for the long run, and we need that guy to make his starts, and for us to go to where we feel we can go, we need him. And you guys talk about it before, right? Like first time going through this and all that, and we're gonna find some days that we're gonna take advantage of them, regardless of the situation. You got to put the player first, and he was very upset in the beginning, and then he was okay with it. So obviously we were short, but that doesn't dictate what we're going to do with our ace.
Alex Cora says it wasn't tough at all yesterday. Maybe it should be a little bit tougher to pull your ace, tied in a 1-1 game in the 6th inning on a night where your bullpen is gassed and you're trying to build momentum for a team that has struggled to build any momentum throughout this season. We need to get them to where we're going. Alex, you need to get there first. Need I remind you that you haven't been in the playoffs since 2021, in part because of stuff like this. Mostly because of the roster over the last 3 years. But this has become an issue for the Boston Red Sox. They were very quick to come out last night and say it was a predetermined plan. We were going to be short with Garrett tonight. When did you make that decision? Did you make that yesterday, pregame? Did you make it a week ago? A month ago? After his last start? When did you make that decision? And now all of a sudden we just can't question the plan because it was always the plan all along? That to me is terrible managing. Awful. No feel for the situation whatsoever. And I get it. You need to manage Garrett Crochet over the course of the long term. At times you need to do it because he's barely pitched in his big league career. I understand it. Last night was not the time. It wasn't. We can have a discussion about how we manage pitchers in baseball, and that's a bigger picture discussion. Let's not lose sight of last night. Last night sent a message to the Mets that you were okay with losing that game. It sent a message to your team that you were okay with losing that game. The decision to pull Crochet in the 6th inning gave the Mets life, a team that has not had any life for the last week and a half. They've been completely lifeless in this series. And the decision made by Alex Cora and the organization killed any momentum the Red Sox had coming off of Tuesday night, which was a big win. Here's the thing about baseball. There are nights over the course of 162 games where you do have to punt. That's the nature of the sport. It's a big picture sport. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It forces you to manage for the long term so many times. I get that. It's one of the things I love about baseball. There was no reason to punt in that moment last night. That was not the right night to do it. Tuesday was a good win. You got screwed by the ump. Your bullpen was gassed, and you still managed to win that game, and you built some momentum coming off of that. You're 500. You've been 500 for the last 6 years. You have a chance to sweep the series before heading into a weekend against a lousy Orioles team with rain coming in tonight. You know you're not playing the game tonight. You needed to win that game last night to build momentum, and Cora wasn't going to do it. He refused to go for it in a spot where, to me, you go for it. Instead, Cora and the Red Sox were all too comfortable in saying, we're good. We won the series. He's content. And the team plays content. You want to know why they're 500? Stuff like last night. You want to know why they finished 81-81 last year? Stuff like last night. You want to know why they've been 500 for the last 6 years? Moments like last night. They've got a mindset problem. Jimmy, what happened to the aggressive manager that I saw in 2018? This is one of the things that I loved about Alex Cora when he took over. He took over a team that needed to be more aggressive. They had, gone to the playoffs in back-to-back years. They hadn't learned how to win yet. And Cora kind of came in and said, we're going to grab this season by the balls. We're going to play to win. He managed aggressively. What happened to that guy? Where is he?
I believe his career ended in Colorado in 2024 when he got a new contract.
He got paid. So he's just content. And I'll tell you what, he's managed content this year. In game, that was a content manager last night. Nah, we're good. Outside of the game with the clubhouse, I don't need to talk to my best player, convince him to play first base, even though I have the best chance to do it, and it would be best for the team. Yeah, I don't know. Why doesn't the GM do that? I don't need to bench my shortstop because he sucks and he can't hit. I like that guy. I'm not going to do it. Not going to bother. I've got a problem with a bullpen pitcher that we'll get into here momentarily. Nah, I don't need to do it. That Alex Cora is long gone. And I love that about Alex Cora. I did. I've been a Cora guy for a long time. But he's different. He's approaching things differently. He's changed. I've said for a long time that I think the Red Sox have let a losing culture sink into this team over the last 5 years. And I was under the belief, apparently wrongly so, that Cora pushed back against that. I mean, he led the fight against Chaim Bloom. It wasn't me. It was Alex Cora leading the fight against Chaim Bloom. It felt like he wanted to win. He had issues with ownership. He had issues with management. He had issues with the roster. And he kept saying, I'm going to be out of here. I'm getting out of here. Then he got paid. And nothing's been the same ever since. Jimmy, you called it right at the time. You might be right about it. He got paid and everything's good. I think Cora has allowed that losing culture that I think was seeping in to this franchise over the last 5 to 6 years. I think he's been completely engulfed by it. The infection has spread to the manager, and he's a part of the problem now too. It's affecting him in-game. It's affecting him out of game. This team has a culture problem, and Alex Cora is not helping. He's hurting the situation. 617-779-0985. And that's mostly just the in-game stuff, where he's seen a significant dip in his job performance. We'll get to the clubhouse stuff in a second, which is an even bigger problem. How about Corey in Rochester to lead us off tonight? It's McCarthy in for Maz on the Baseball Hour. Hey, Corey.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having the courage to be the first ones to have this conversation, because you are absolutely spot on.
Corey. I'm a hero. I'm courageous, and I'm glad that you're recognizing it. Thank God for me. Of course.
So my question is, I need someone to explain to me how it is not core at this point. Like you're alluding to, the roster's changed, coaches have changed, front office staff has changed, players, and now big money has been invested. How can you look at that and point to anything but Cora? He's the only survivor. It's him. Let's get serious. All right, guys. Thanks. See you later.
The Red Sox this offseason added an ace in Garrett Crochet and an MVP candidate in Alex Bregman, and they're the same team. The team is better. The team is more talented. The team is a year older, and it's still the same stuff. Of course the manager is a problem. Of course the manager is a part of that situation. And with each passing day, Alex Cora becomes a bigger problem. Don't just ask me, ask Liam Hendricks, who came into that game last night and did not pitch well. Not sure if you watched that. That is, you want to talk about straight as an arrow, Stu. Liam Hendricks, watching that guy pitch. But he wants to pitch more.
And the manager is a problem in that one, too.
We'll get into Cora's management of Liam Hendricks last night, which felt personal to me. And it hurt the team. The same way that the Devers thing and Cora's approach to that has hurt the team. The same way Cora's favoritism with Trevor Story is hurting the team. Interesting.
Didn't he put Tristan Casas on an island?
He did. That hurt Casas and hurt the team. Huh. Is Alex Cora helping or hurting the Red Sox right now?
Do Breslow and Cora still get along?
You've suggested that perhaps they don't.
I mean, isn't it evident? Like, if you're going to have Crochet on a pitch count, don't you want to bring up another bullpen arm?
I would agree.
Or why even bother pitch him if you're going to restrict your ace?
Push him back a day. You know,
last night didn't matter, Matt. That's a problem. Last night's game in the win-loss column did not matter.
Well, and that's how you finish 81 and 81. That's why the Red Sox are where they're at. Stuff like that, the mindset, the dysfunction, it still very much exists with this team. And by the way, they're even more dysfunctional this year than they have been in years past, and they weren't exactly functional then. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. The roster has gotten better. The dysfunction has gotten worse.
And your manager has gotten worse.
In-game, that was on display last night. That was a disaster. The Liam Hendricks stuff, too, last night, we'll get into this. The way Cora managed this, unacceptable. 617-779-0985. Summer of Maz is underway. McCarthy, Stu, here on the Baseball Hour.
the Sports Hub.
I was frustrated. Just wanted, a chance to pick up my teammates, be in the bullpen. They've obviously, worked really hard this series, and I wanted to try and keep them out of it as much as possible. That he was just kind of letting me know, hey, we're monitoring your workload, this sort of thing. And, I said, I get it. I apologized for, yelling a curse word on the field when I saw him coming out there. I wasn't trying to show him up. I was just really in the moment. I knew where my pitch count was and how my body was feeling, so I was excited to attack the next hitter. But it was in no way my intention to show him up in any form.
Jay. And it's McCarthy in for Maz tonight. By the way, Stu, you want to guess what the Red Sox record is in Garrett Crochet starts this year?
Is it something like 6-5?
You nailed it. 6-5. Guy has a 1.97 ERA, and you are 6-5 in his starts. Something's not adding up here. How is that possible? Mathematically, analytically speaking, you have a guy make 11 starts. He's got a 1.97 in those starts. I do believe he leads the American League in innings pitched, too, by the way. And you're 6-5 in those games? How? It's incredible. Obviously, no run support, which we'll get into. A stat that will blow your mind on the Red Sox.
Because every time Crochet is going against another team's ace, like last night, that was the Mets ace, right? That was Tom Seaver on the mound. Right. That was Matt Harvey in his prime on the mound. Sure. That Nolan was, who else is a Mets ace?
Nolan Ryan, Doc Gooden. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was Tyler McGill. Megill, not McGill. Like a good Scottish person. Like
is that what we're going to call Tyler Milliken now, going forward?
McGill?
Tyler.
Oh, we should. Add the O. He's in tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
We have a half a round table because, again, the summer of Maz has begun. Get that.
Tyler Milliken joins us tomorrow.
Lord Milliken will be there. He'll have to answer for this. And he has to answer for Alex Cora and the way he's approached the clubhouse. So, Crochet wants to pitch. Cora comes out, takes him out, 85 pitches. Crochet did not know that he was on essentially a pitch count last night, which I actually don't have much of a problem with. If you feel that it's going to affect the way he pitches, fine. I have a problem with the fact that last night was predetermined as the outing where we go short, as Cora said with Crochet. Last night's the night we manage Crochet. The Red Sox are a little bit too content in every form, but they're too content in Crochet starts. I'd have to look at his run support stats, but if you're 6-5 with your ace on the mound with a 1.97 ERA, the rest of the team is a little bit too comfortable with him on the mound. And Cora was too comfortable pulling him out of that game last night. And everybody's too comfortable and everybody's a little bit too entitled, including Liam Hendriks, who comes out before the game and complains that he's not being used enough in comments to the Boston Globe. Cora, obviously, was made aware of those comments. The whole world saw them. And I think he managed that game with a vendetta last night, which sounds like a crazy sports talk radio take until I remind you that it's Alex Cora, who has done many acts of managerial protest over the last few years. I know because I supported him in doing that. He did this stuff all the time under the Bloom regime. He would leave a pitcher in too long. He'd put a guy at shortstop who didn't belong there, put a guy at first, wouldn't make a move and say, well, the roster is the roster. An act of managerial protest. And I think Cora did that last night. I think it got personal for him. Cora reads those comments before the game, says, oh, all right, you want to throw? Fine. You're going to throw multiple innings. We're going to throw you. Go out and prove yourself. Which is something, by the way, that Liam Hendriks has done twice, going back to 2021. Liam Hendriks is a one-inning guy. He has been for years. He's not the same pitcher he once was. You saw it. Liam Hendriks should have been done after the 6th inning last night. He got out of that inning. You say, okay, we move on. We go from there. Not so fast. Alex Cora needs to prove a point. And that, to me, was proving a point, going back to Liam Hendriks for the 7th inning, when, again, he's done it twice over the last 2 years, And I'm fairly certain the one he did earlier this year, that was mop-up duty. And he was just coming back. So, I mean, that was a high leverage spot last night. And that's the time Cora decides to go back to Hendricks. Doesn't go to him in the 11th inning when he goes to Greg Weissert in Detroit a few weeks ago when they blew that game, the Javi Baez home run, where Hendricks should have been pitching in that game instead of stretching Weissert out to 2 innings. So he won't go to him for 1 inning that night, but he'll try to go to him for 2 innings on a night where you've got a 1-1 game and you just pulled your starter after 85 pitches. That's the spot you choose to go to Hendricks. I guarantee you it was directly tied in to Hendricks' comments before the game. All right, you want to throw? You got something to prove? Screw you, buddy. Go out there and throw. Throw until your arm falls off. And it blew up on the team. Cora put himself ahead of the team with the Liam Hendricks decision last night. That felt personal. And you lost the game because of it. And you killed the momentum that you had built off of Tuesday night's really good win. You got screwed on Tuesday. The ump screwed you. You got put in a bad spot. And the team, one of the few times they've actually done this year, actually showed a little bit of heart. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah, the walk-off win over Atlanta over the weekend. You take the first 2 against the Mets, who aren't playing great baseball right now, but you'll take it when you can get it. You've only swept one team this year, and that was the awful Cardinals team. First weekend, a home weekend of the year. You have a chance to win that game. And they washed their hands of it. Cora walked away from it. Chose to use Hendricks to prove a point. Stuck to the organizational plan that, well, we're not going to really try to win this game tonight. We're going to limit Crochet to 85 pitches, and that's it. And this is where you're at. Culture problems. Managerial problems. How do you fix it? Because that's the question we need to start asking ourselves. How do you fix it? Stu, is your answer to fire Cora? Is that how you're approaching this?
I'm at the point where I'm ready to see who can do better.
They did better with Ramon Vazquez.
2-0, manager of the year candidate.
Right. That's a sports talk radio take. Baseball's a large sample size sport. It's not a small sample size sport. I get that. I understand that. But there are problems here. There are problems with this team culture. So how do you fix those problems? How many guys off this roster do you want to trade away? You probably have to trade away a few this offseason because you've got Anthony and Meyer coming up, and you got to figure out what you're doing with Story, and you got to figure out the future of your outfield, and you know how big a part of your future is Jarren Duran, how big a part of your future is Abreu and Rafaela. There are decisions to be made with the roster. Don't get me wrong on that. But what you've seen so far this year is that there are decisions to be made on the manager too. Because the manager, who I thought was an asset, turns out isn't an asset anymore.
He just wants his way. See, what happened with Cora is he got here and he got Sugar Dave Dombrowski, who was in the clubhouse every day. Alex, what do you need? I need Steve Pierce. I need Nathan Eovaldi. This is what I need to make. And he got spoiled by it. They let Dave Dombrowski go because he didn't trade Mookie Betts at the deadline like they wanted, or whatever the reason why. That's what I kind of believe. Then here comes Chaim Bloom, who is empowered to be a mathematician. And the relationship, I think, was strained because I don't think Chaim Bloom wanted Alex Cora. And Alex Cora is a politician, and Chaim Bloom had final say and was like, oh, we'll consider it. Oh, you need a shortstop? Here's Pablo Reyes. Here comes Alex Cora saying, Pablo Reyes can't play every day. And then now you get Craig Breslow, who I'm not sure wanted Alex Cora either. So now you've got a manager and a GM who aren't happy with each other again.
Dysfunction, dysfunction, dysfunction. All around.
But nobody will write it.
And Cora's the constant.
And he manipulates these beat guys.
Cora's a likable guy in many senses. I have been a Cora guy. I've defended him for a long time, Jimmy. I can't defend this. Not the way this season's going. Not the culture problems that are so obvious and so apparent with this team. How can I defend the manager in this situation? And the approach. Oh, God, is the approach awful. And Cora is a part of that. He's the field manager. And I know this speaks to an organizational issue. 16 strikeouts last night. 16 effing strikeouts in that game. I have a stat for you. Not just 16 strikeouts. Some data behind those strikeouts. You will not want to miss this and what it says about the Red Sox offense and the problems that they have. Quick update from Kevin Majori, then right back.
And Duran foul tips it for strike 3. Came at him with a sinker on 3-2. 0-2 coming. On the outside corner, got him looking at a fastball. Swing and a miss, and McGill fires a fastball by Abreu. On the outside corner, got him looking at a fastball. 5 batters, 4 strikeouts for Tyler McGill. Catching job away from Connor Wong. And he takes strike 3 call, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-2 from McGill. And Bregman goes down swinging. That is 7 strikeouts through the first 12 batters for Tyler McGill. 2-2 from McGill. Struck him out.
Side right now.
Campbell foul tips it for strike 3, and Tyler McGill strikes out the side of the 4th. And Bregman a half swing. He went around strike 3. Razabon strikes out Bregman to strand 3.
It's real Sandy Koufax out there, although, Koufax was a lefty. Yeah. 16 strikeouts. 16. 10 of them from Tyler McGill. Stu, would you like to know the pitches that Tyler McGill used to strike out 10 Red Sox last night?
I believe the main one was like a 97-mile-per-hour fastball.
Here they are. Sinker, fastball, 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 sinker, fastball, fastball, and number 10, you guessed it, fastball. All hard stuff. Sinker, 2-seam fastball. So a couple miles an hour slower, a little bit more movement on it. Still hard stuff. None of the ass, all of the gas from Tyler McGill last night. That is an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. If you're a major league offense, a major league lineup, you're telling me these guys got to the big leagues because they can't hit a fastball? They got to the big leagues in spite of the fact that they can't hit a fastball? Give me a break with that. This is all about the Red Sox approach at the plate. Watch the replays. Look at how long the swings are. Willie Abreu is still swinging from last night. How hard is it to shorten the swings up and put the ball in play? You got this far. You obviously have the ability to do it. You have the ability to put the bat on the ball, most of you, except for Trevor Story, who sucks, by the way. Tonight's game postponed for the Red Sox, which unfortunately delays for Trevor Story his quest to have a sub-600 OPS one more day. That'll happen at about 2 o'clock tomorrow as we're taking the air for Felger and Maz. Trevor Story will have accomplished what he really has set out to accomplish, a sub-600 OPS. What an organizational problem. You can't fix Trevor Story. You can't teach a guy how to hit. He can't hit. He sucks. The rest of them, though, they're better hitters in this lineup than they are performing. And this is all about the approach at the plate. This is an organizational problem, top to bottom. But enough focusing on the analysts. We can do plenty of that, and some of it is warranted. Don't get me wrong. Can we fire the hitting coach? Is that okay? Do we do that anymore? Do we fire hitting coaches? Do we fire pitching coaches?
Probably not. I think you probably have to look at the organizational philosophy, and you have to fire the person who's in charge of that.
Okay, I understand that. That's not going to happen. Can we bring in somebody else?
How about Jim Rice? He's on the payroll.
Hey, he was a hitting coach. Back when I was growing up, Jim Rice was the hitting coach for the Boston Red Sox. He's capable of it, Stu. I'm sure they'd love that. Actually, maybe Jim Rice teaching Christian Campbell how to hit a line drive would be helpful, given Campbell's hitting like 225. I don't think we need to worry about the Rookie of the Year stuff just yet. I think we can pump the brakes on that.
You know who would be a great hitting coach?
Who's that?
Dustin Pedroia.
That feels informed. That kind of came out of nowhere, Stu.
Yeah, he did the Jared Carabas-Nesson show with Jonathan Papelbon and the person who's probably going to replace Jemai Webster. And he did a couple innings, and he was great, talking about hitting philosophies and so on and so on and so on.
I'm sure he'd be good. Because there was a guy who put his bat on the ball, which is a great skill in baseball. I'm a fan of it. I like lineups that put their bat on the ball. This Red Sox lineup is better than they are performing. And the reason they are not performing up to their capabilities, they're not the best lineup in the league. All right, let's Trevor Story's batting 6th for you. You're not the best lineup in the league. That guy can't play. But you have 2 guys in Worcester who should be here right now, and they're not. And you have a bunch of guys in this lineup who are underperforming their abilities, in my opinion. And it speaks to the organizational issues. But why can't we fire a hitting coach? I get it. It runs deeper. It's drive line. It's all that stuff. Wouldn't it be nice, though, to have a hitting coach who could say after, I don't know, Tyler McGill strikes you out 6 times, hey, guys, we might choke up on the bat tonight. We might just try to put the ball in play. Can we do that? The analysts aren't in the dugout. Can we have a coach who can take a look at that long-ass swing that I kept seeing from Wilyer Abreu last night saying, hey, Wilyer, let's just shorten this swing up. A B swing, as I keep hearing from Will Middlebrooks, B swing, C swing. Hey, we're not going out there with our A swing tonight. We're going out there with our B swing, because if we score 3 or 4 runs and we actually let Garrett Crochet pitch deep into the game, we're going to win this game. We're going to come out of this series with a sweep. We're going to get tomorrow off because it's going to be raining, and then we got the Orioles in town and we're feeling good. Instead, we're now sitting here on a rainy night thinking about how they blew that game last night. It all comes back to coaching, approach, philosophy. This team is better than what they've shown. And the people in the dugout, we can focus on the people in the front office all we want. They've had missteps, no doubt about it. The people in the dugout aren't doing their job. Jimmy Stewart, is Alex Cora doing his job, yes or no?
No.
Is Pete Fatsi, hitting coach, doing his job, yes or no?
No.
Andrew Bailey, pitching coach, is he doing his job?
No.
Definitely not. And no doubt about it, some of those issues go way beyond those guys. The pitching philosophy in particular, given that Breslow is a pitching guy, he needs to bear some brunt of the blame for that.
He's on the record in the Netflix documentary saying, as an organization, we prefer to throw softer and spin the ball because the exit velocity is less.
Yep.
Well, how many home runs have they given up on breaking pitches? And the exit bat velocity is still 107 miles per hour.
Yep. I call those ass bombs. When you take the ass and you hit it out. Which I had Milliken look up. The Red Sox, believe it or not, are only 6th in baseball in the percentage of ass bombs given up. There are 5 more teams out there somehow, some way, giving up more home runs on breaking pitches and soft stuff compared to the Boston Red Sox. That was as of a few days ago. So I can get some updated numbers from Milliken on that tomorrow. The pitching philosophy is awful. The hitting philosophy may be even worse. I don't know which philosophy is worse, but neither of it works. And now you have a team that's below 500 again in an American League where there are basically 0 good teams. And here you are. You're underperforming because your manager won't do his job, has struggled with his job in-game, won't do his job behind the scenes. You have a hitting coach who, I don't know what the hell he does. Obviously nothing.
He looks at an iPad and goes, oh, do this.
What, make your swing even longer? I can watch that. What do I know about a big league swing? I'm just a guy who comes in and does the radio. Go back, Jimmy, go to MLB.com and watch Tyler McGill's 10 strikeouts. Tyler, I should say. Tyler McGill. Go watch his 10 strikeouts and look at how long those swings are. It's a joke. And you have a pitching coach who believes, obviously with the general manager, in a flawed pitching philosophy. It's so frustrating. They're better than they've shown. 617-779-0985. How about Ryan in Providence? What's up, Ryan?
Hey, thank you for letting me join. I want to talk about Craig Breslow and how he's picking the people to give them contract extensions early. Look at Brian Bayo, not going great. Look at Christian Campbell. If you looked at his OPS in May, it's 278. It's even worse than Trevor Story. Is he picking the right guys? That's my comment.
I had no problem with the Campbell contract. He's struggling. He's a rookie. I think the talent's there. At the plate, I don't know where he's playing in the field, and good for him for being willing to play first base when the veteran players on this team won't do it. Rafael Devers won't do it. How about Trevor Story, who should have lost his job at this point? I would argue has lost his job. The only problem is the manager likes him too much, and they're going to instead put Meyer at second and Campbell at first, and we're going to go from there. How about Trevor Story? not being willing to change positions because he's not good enough to be in the lineup.
Well, the team hasn't
every day.
asked.
He should volunteer.
Like
but I agree.
Tristan Campbell did.
Right. Like the 23-year-old rookie who is recognizing, by the way, that he's not helping the team at the plate, and he's saying, what else can I do to help my team? And he knows Meyer's a good player, and he's played with him, and he says, if I move to first base, that'll help get Marcelo up here, and we need that. How is it that the 23-year-old kid who's been in the big leagues for about 90 seconds, how is it that he is more mature than everybody else in that room? It's a credit to Christian Campbell, who has struggled, to the caller's point. I don't regret that contract. The Red Sox don't regret that contract. I think he's going to be a special hitter. He's struggling. Young players struggle. It's going to happen. I have a bigger problem with the 33-year-old shortstop who's got a 600 OPS and hasn't volunteered to move to first base to help the team. I've got a bigger problem with that. And I have a bigger problem with the manager who hasn't asked him to do it because he refuses to admit that his guy, Trevor Story, is not and should not be the shortstop of the Boston Red Sox moving forward. 617-779-0985. We'll wrap things up next on the Baseball Hour. All right, McCarthy in for Maz. We got Joe Murray coming your way in a few minutes. Stu, I thought tonight was a very uplifting program. Good way to send you into the holiday weekend because, nobody works on
holiday
Fridays.
Weekend. We're working together on Sunday.
I can't wait for that. McCarthy and Stu, 10-2 on Sunday. That is a party. What do you say he's going to be stirring the drink there, Joe Murray?
No, it just reminds me of like something edible, like a McCarthy stew. But get what I mean?
Oh. You want to workshop some stuff for us, Joe, over the course of the next few days?
No, it just depends on what you want to throw in there. What are some of your favorites there, Jimmy?
Historically, I've done my best work 10-2 in my life.
That is true. That's why you're here. We've been very lucky about. We were very fortunate to poach you from another 10-2 show. We got that coming up this weekend. That'll be good.
And then the round table tomorrow with you and the Middle Missile.
Tyler Milliken. We got that coming up. We also have a doubleheader tomorrow because the Red Sox got rained out tonight, shockingly so. Again, because they couldn't manage last night's game, with any form of urgency whatsoever, knowing that they'd be able to reset everything tonight on what was definitely going to be an off night.
So why pitch your ace then? If you don't care about the third game of the series, why pitch Crochet?
Yeah, save him until Friday. But no, we pitched him. We just did a half measure.
Have a bullpen game. Why not? Sean Newcomb's basically been a starter his last two bullpen appearances.
That would involve calling somebody up to help the bullpen,
there's that too.
Which the Red Sox chose not to do ahead of yesterday's game, and then they shoved Liam Hendricks down your throat because of Alex Cora's personal vendetta against him. Tomorrow, though, it is a day-night doubleheader on Friday, which is that's a good way to enter the holiday weekend. Brian Bayo goes in Game 1.
Yeah, that's right. How's his changeup, by the way? How's Andrew Bailey helped his changeup?
Not great. The combio. I saw that in the documentary. It's not great. You know where he's also not good, Jimmy and Joe?
During the day.
Day games. So you have an opportunity to start this guy at night. I have Bayo's career stats up here. Splits. Day game. Let's do the night stuff first. Let's get the good stuff out of the way. Night games. Career 3.86 ERA.
Oh, pretty good.
Day games. 5.54.
He's a vampire.
And you chose to start him. You chose to start him in the day game tomorrow. Yet another example of Alex Cora mismanaging his team. That is the manager making a bad baseball decision. Start him in the night game. The hell's wrong with you?
Gives him more time to get to the ballpark in case he's late again.
You have suggested that in the past, that maybe it's a getting there and getting ready to go. I know that feeling. I'm a night owl. I'd prefer to start a night game over a day game. Joe Murray's a night owl. What do you got coming up tonight, Joe?
Well, tomorrow is the Weenie 500. I'm not sure if you're aware of what the
the what?
It's the Weenie 500.
The Weenie 500?
It is a bunch of weenie wagons that will be racing around the Indy 500.
And you're doing 4 hours on that tonight?
Well, we're going to preview it here on the show.
Tremendous.
Kendra Middleton's going to join us for that.
Great.
So that should be fun. And, we're going to react to that Knicks choke last night.
That was something else. All right. Weenie Talk coming your way with Joe Murray. We have the Baseball Hour Roundtable coming your way tomorrow night. The summer of Maz has begun. I'm McCarthy. See ya.
From the Telfair Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1. It's not just